Hi fellow airbrushers, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're doing a portrait. As you can see, we're all set up. We're going to be doing a sort of a multi-picture that's been put together. I found this on Pinterest and thought, yeah, I really want to have a go at painting this. We've got the Statue of Liberty crown to the top, then it's like a piece of lowrider art with a clown girl on there, so you've got like the top part of the Statue of Liberty crown there on top, clown girl there, and then we've got like the V for Vendetta mask in her hand here, a few textures around the outside, and there's a few bullets coming around the outside of that. So that's the piece of artwork. I'm working from a tablet, so I can just pinch and pull. So that's the reference that I'm working from. I'll give you a little talk through some of the bits and the airbrushes that we're using today. Now, the paints that we're going to be using, I've got Createx Illustration Payne's Grey. Now, I've dropped a bit of orange in this mix, so when you look at the colour wheel, because this is like a bluey type grey, so I go bang opposite to the colour wheel from your blue, you've got orange, so I've dropped a few drops of orange in it, and it's just pulled that blue shift just slightly away and give it more of a natural grey look. So that's what we're using on the main part of this. The darks and the black areas, I'm using the FW inks. We can mix this down with water, so we're going to be using that. I've got some shields. These are really old and I really could do with some new ones. These are absolutely battered, but they've lasted years. So if you're looking at getting shields, get the Melee ones, and they are solvent proof, guys. Art Tool do loads of different shields. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can get some really cool shields from if you're after shields for doing round the outsides like you see me doing the portraits where I'm holding it to get the shapes. They come in really handy. I've got a couple of texture shields. I've got one that I've made myself, so it's like for skin textures and things, little holes in. I just did this with a old airbrush needle, stuck it over the stove in the kitchen and just popped through, and it gives you them nice little textures. And I've got another one here, it's like a webbing, which gets some nice textures with that one. So they're the bits I'm going to use. Erasers, I've got an electric eraser here. They're not the best. They chew batteries up like you wouldn't believe, but it's good for punching out some little highlights. I've got a Faber-Castell, which is a soft eraser. These ones you can sharpen, soft eraser. And I've got a Tombow, like press the top and the eraser comes out the bottom. These ones aren't bad. Again, it's a soft point eraser. I really want to get hold of some of the ink erasers, which are like this. You get a little brush on the end, and they're a lot more sort of like harder on the actual eraser, so you can really sort of get the textures in with that. But that's what I've got to pick up later on. So they're the bits I'm going to be using. I've got Dred FX tip tool, which is really handy, guys. These will be available very soon. They're nice and handy. They're magnetic. You can just, if you're working on a car, you can just put a bit of masking tape down on the bodywork, and it just magnets to the bodywork, and you've got your bristles. You can just rub your brush with the tip dry. You can just quickly do that, and you can continue painting. You don't have to keep pinching the front of your brush and piercing your skin on your hand. So they will be available, and they're really handy bits of kit. So I think I've covered all the bits. I'll stick you in time lapses. I'm going to be blasting tunes out in here while I'm working, but I'll leave you links in the description, so if you want to have a listen to what I'm listening to while I'm painting this, you'll probably be quite shocked on what I'm listening to. So we'll crack on. I'll stick you in a time lapse. We'll do a bit, and then I'll talk you through these bits along the way. Enjoy today's video, guys, and I'll see you in a bit. a little pause and a cup of tea, and there's always a dog that's going to start barking the minute you start to do the recording. Something goes on. Now I've picked up the Micron. Now if you've not used a custom Micron and you are thinking of getting one, get one. They are really nice on the trigger, and if you've not used Createx illustration, buy it, because it is just amazing paint to work with. It atomizes brilliantly and you can just do such soft work with it. It's just a joy to work with on low pressure, it really is. And it's just easy to paint with. It really is an easy paint to paint with. You can just, it just flows so nice. It's just a joy to work with. So dead easy to do so far. We're just sort of mapping out and putting the pieces in place. I'm going to do this video in two parts, so you get to see it in two parts. We'll crack on with a little bit more around here. I've just put some soft shading up in the hair. This is going to go a lot darker, so I'm just sort of mapping out, and it's dropping that orange into the illustration Payne's grey. It's just knocked that real sort of bright blue shift out and made it more sort of a natural grey, dropping a bit of the orange in. So I prefer that mix. So I'm doing a little bit more. I've been using the shield. You see me going in, just holding shields up, just moving around, holding some bits up. These are going to go a lot darker in here. We've got blacks to put in on some of these pieces. I'm just sort of going to map the whole sort of thing out in the illustration with the orange mix, and then I'll just start dropping darks, very light darks over the top, and just start knocking it back, and that's how I'm working it. So that's where we are. I'll stick in another time lapse, and we're going to we'll work the crown piece in here in today's video, get this piece in, and that will do for this actual part, and I'll do this in a couple of stages and talk you through as much as I can. So I'll see you the next time. Right guys, a little pause and we will wind this one up for today. I'll talk you through what I've done. You basically see me in that time lapse, I'm sort of going around, adding a little bit more on the hair and just sort of working this. Because this is transparent, you can work really light and you can then build it up to basically like an opaque. So you're going over and top, over the top, over the top. Like candies are, the more you put on, the darker it gets. And you can just work this Createx illustration nice and easy, really light. I'll put a few little textures in just to start the textures off, and we just sort of working freehand. It can all look very sort of messy at the start, but then when you look at your reference, where you see a sharp, drop a sharp in. Where you see a soft edge, drop a soft edge in. You don't want everything too sharp everywhere. Natural stuff isn't all sharp lines and things. Nature's like soft and sharp mixed together, and that's what make your artwork look a lot better when you start sharpening bits up with the shields. So I can go around these, when these go a lot darker around the top of the Statue of Liberty crown piece at the top, this will be a lot darker, and I'll sharpen this up with the dark blacks, and you can just sink it and sharpen it up. Same as the points here. These were just quick blast with the shield just to get a bit of paint down, and then where there's the darker pieces, I can then go back in with the shield and just darken these lines up. So work sort of light and then just start working and working up, adding a little bit more, and then just, as I say, put your shields in and sharpen the bits where it needs to be sharp. Don't sharpen everything up. It's like round the eyes is soft There'll be some light sort of sharper lines around these teeth to make them stand out. Around these bullets will be sort of sharp with soft tones on the bullets. So just keep a good eye on your reference. Don't get overwhelmed by the picture, and just sort of like pull a bit in and concentrate on one bit and just paint the shapes, guys. They're all shapes at the end of the day. That piece there is basically, if you were doing that in one stroke, could be like a dagger stroke to a point. You're just painting shapes, and then once all the shapes come together, the picture just pops. So paint the shapes, let the picture take care of itself. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll join you in tomorrow's one when we will continue on this. I'm going to do this in a few parts, talk you through as much as I can, give you some tips along the way like I've done today. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. Don't rush, enjoy it, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.